everybody. Welcome back to Pub Sports Radio. My name is Liam Picks Fights, and today I'm going to be talking to you about UFC Long Island and some of the great prize picks looks that we have for this weekend coming up on the card. And, some weeks I come to you guys and I tell you, hey, I found one that I really like and one that, I kind of feel good about. This week, I actually really like some of the spots that we're going to be taking a look at on Prize Picks. So if you've never gotten involved before, what you need to do is you need to use code PubSportsRadio. Go get yourself signed up, make a deposit. They're going to deposit match you 100% up to $100. And then we're going to get started looking at these props, and you can go all different sports. But tonight we're looking at the UFC. That's what I like to do. And we're going to look starting, with my boy Muslim Salikhov, right? Muslim Salikhov, he is back. He's going to be taking on a very tough challenge in Jingliang. And I think that it's a very interesting option we have here because Prize Picks gives you a bunch of different options, right? We have either significant strikes, we can go with takedowns, we can go with fight time, and in this case, we can go with fantasy score, right? And I pay for some advanced analytics programs. One of the things that stood out to me in the analytics this week is that there are a few fighters that are really low in terms of their fantasy score per minute. Right, so the second lowest fantasy score per minute on the card belongs to our friend Muslim Salikhov, 2.19, points per minute. Very, very low. Among the lowest on the card, the lowest is 2. Right, so he's very close, like 0.2 off from the lowest on the card. And then we're seeing that he's only scoring on average 66.11 on his fantasy score per fight. That's very low. With a projection of 87.5, we've got a lot of coverage from his average. On top of that, for matchup reasons, this might be a very difficult fight for him. He's had common opponents with the Leech, and the Leech has done a little bit better than Muslim has done. Also, Leech is 4 years younger. He's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. So Muslim already struggles to put up a high fantasy score in most of his fights. And I think that in this fight, he may struggle to do so again. He may even struggle to win the fight. So for all those reasons, I think the under on his fantasy score is a great look because even if he wins the fight, it's very infrequent that this is a guy who's going to go over his fantasy total. So I think that that is a good way to get us started. Appreciate you guys in the chat rocking with us already. And if you guys have some Prize Picks looks that you're interested in, go ahead and drop them in the chat. But what I also have next is Dustin Jacoby and Jung, right? This is a fight that has been taking action on the under all week, right? It's down to plus 115, plus 110. I think it's going to fall to, minus money by the time that this fight starts. And why? It's because we've got two guys that are big, powerful, that can throw some strikes. I would argue Jung is a more natural power striker than somebody like Dustin Jacoby. He dropped the notoriously durable Sam Alvey. He also knocked out Kennedy and Nzechukwu, who we all thought was, one of the most durable in the division, and has shown since then that he's held up fine under pressure. But it was that, early shot, elbow through the guard, very surprising amount of power from Jung. On top of that, he's shown an ability to mix in some takedowns, to look for a finish late into a fight. He submitted Khadisi Ibragimov in the third round of his UFC debut. So I think that we have a really interesting matchup here where we've got a great style dynamic. We've got two guys who are going to go out here and probably want to strike, mix it up a little bit. But we also have Jung who might be able to mix in that grappling and change the complexion of the fight. And for all those reasons, you've got a dynamic fight, two guys who have a path to a finish. It's a light heavyweight fight, so that finish rate's going up just a little bit. I like what we're seeing here for an under 14.75. We're basically getting the whole fight. They're giving us a fight doesn't go the distance here pretty much. And I think that that's worthwhile here for our Prize Picks exposure. It's one of the spots that I feel a little bit better about. So I think that that is a good look on Prize Picks this weekend. And the last one, guys, it's another one that I'm going to say is interchangeable, right? So I ended up going with the under 11 minutes on fight time here. And why? Because Dustin Stoltzfus, sometimes, he is a little bit liable to get finished, right? We've seen that he has been finished. He has been submitted by Gerald Mearshart in a recent bout. He's also been hurt before in his fights. However, I think that Dwight Grant is a guy that can be hurt as well. We just saw in his last fight with Honda, Sergey Kandasco, he was hurt pretty badly in that spot. He's been hurt in the past by some opponents as well. Really had been drawing dead on some split decisions and also some big knockout power of his own. So I think, again, when I'm looking to target unders, when I'm looking to target violence, I want people that can both give me that chance. Two guys that have an honest shot. And I think that Dwight Grant, while it will be tough for him to finish, somebody like Stolfus, who's probably going to be trying to mix in that grappling, a little bit of wrestling, make it a difficult, gritty fight for him. He is moving up a weight class here. I think all that opens up the possibility that we could see a finish on either side. I think Stolfus is live for a finish. I think Dwight Grant is live for a finish. So I'm looking at that under 11 fight time in terms of minutes. But if you guys are looking to tweak it just a little bit, I mentioned before, Muslim Salikhov has the second lowest fantasy score per minute on the card. Do you know who has the lowest average fantasy score per minute on the card? That would be Mr. Dwight Grant. So Dwight Grant is averaging 2 fantasy points per minute. If you're looking for a separate way to target this fight, you don't necessarily love the under for the Dwight Grant fight, no problem. Go ahead and look to target that under for fantasy score for Dwight Grant, because Dwight Grant, the only way he would cover that number, I would think, is in a knockout. So if you're disagreeing with me that it's going to be an under, then you're probably going to want to look to target the under for Dwight Grant in terms of his fantasy points. But guys, there you have it. We went through in a pretty efficient manner, I would argue, a bunch of different prize picks looks for today. We got a bunch of heavy hitters in the chat. My man Jacksonville Zoe says what's up to both me and the members of the chat that are in here. Mike Morris popping in. He's asking about the prize picks plays for today and asking what we're taking straight up. So I'll tell you straight up, I think that Dustin Stolfus is a live dog. I think that the Leech could be potentially a live dog in this fight as well. Even Jung to an extent, I think, is a live dog. So we got 3 live dogs here, but how do we target it? I think, hey, why don't we eliminate some variance, target it, look for violence in these spots. I think that we could see violence from the guys that I just mentioned being live, but they're taking some steps up in competition. Maybe they are deserved underdogs. We cover ourselves a little bit with that under, that violence hedge. But I think that we put ourselves in some great spots to win today. I'm rolling with you. I got my $25 power play in for this week. That's what I'm riding with. And I think that it should be a very good fight. So shout out to Mike Morris rocking with us in the chat. Shout out to everybody else who stopped by, Mark Schillingberg as well. Appreciate you guys tremendously. Guys, we do this each and every week, breaking down some prize picks looks for you. And I think that if you've gotten enjoyment out of this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Drop a like on the video. Let people know that you're enjoying it. And drop a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking about taking this weekend on prize picks, because I'm going to be in the action and I might have more than one entry this week. So I had, 10 different picks here on the cutting room floor. So if I end up getting to another set of entries, I'll try and drop that on Twitter for you guys as well, at Liam Picks Fights. You can always find my work over there. Appreciate you guys for checking it out. So thank you guys all very much for watching. God bless you all. Enjoy those fights. And until next time, this has been Pub Sports Radio saying, we be pubbing.